you. So, what we're talking about is International Women's Day and how I celebrated it yesterday. It's so cool. It's so cool. Anyway, first things first, let's go ahead and pray. So, Lord, thank you for bringing us into another day. Thank you for this community. Thank you for all of the people that you send here, and thank you for being with us. Thank you for always keeping your promises. Thank you for always guiding our steps and really just helping us along the way. Thanks for not leaving us alone. Thanks for not leaving us to have to think about things on our own. Thank you for the grace. Thank you for the absolute perfect peace in every situation, Lord. I just want this to be a day of thanks. So just thank you for everything that you do in Jesus' name. Amen. You know, sometimes when I pray, it's just to thank, right? Like it's just a thank you. It's so many thank yous. It's like thank you doesn't feel like enough. You know what I'm saying? Like those words almost even feel like platitudes or like not heavy enough to really be able to say like, I would be nothing without you. And there's just everything I am just loves, reveres, and thanks everything you are. Right? And I don't even know how you express that. But we'll do our best. We'll do our best with the lives we live. Okay, so happy International Women's Day. 2 years ago on International Women's Day, I bought myself a Corvette, cash money. I was like, this is what I'm going to do for myself on International Women's Day. And it was like this big deal for me. And it was my yellow Corvette. And it was just for me, in my own growth experience, I had hit a point where, oh my gosh, I can just go buy this thing cash. And how fun is that? And da-da-da-da. And it was a fun car. It was a fun car. 2 years later, a lot has happened, right? 2 years later, I have picked up, in the last even just year alone, I have picked up a lot of wisdom. And I have picked up a lot of refining. The Father refines us in different ways, but it's very interesting whenever it happens. Because you'll see yourself responding to something very differently than you would have responded to it before. And that means that you've been refined. That means that there's sanctification that is happening, right? And so what I did yesterday, for those of you that don't know, last October or November, I don't know, the end of last year was an absolute blur of things happening in our lives. And I think it was the middle of November, I think. Mike went to take Nora to school and he opened the door. And whenever he opened the door, I heard this sort of like panicked noise coming back and saying, Martha? And I'm like, yes. Because when Mike sounds panicked, he never sounds panicked. And I'm like, yes, what? And he goes, where are cars? And I'm like, what? Somebody had stolen 2 of our cars over the night. Okay, we live in a gated community, blah, blah, blah. The reason we live here is because we want safety. God quickly let us know that He is our safety. We should not be relying on anybody else, let's be honest. But anyway, they stole our Corvette and they stole our Escalade in the same night. They found the Escalade the same day over in Daytona Beach, which is about an hour and a half away. And we got that back. And then the Corvette actually, it was an interesting thing. The Corvette, whenever they found the Escalade over in Daytona Beach, they found it in a parking lot. And it seemed like maybe the perpetrators had taken the car, parked it in a parking lot as not to park it in anybody's house, right? So like they parked these cars there and then somebody else would go pick it up and take it somewhere is what it seemed like was happening. Anyway, when the police were taking the Escalade, as they were getting into the car, my yellow Corvette pulls up and took the police on a short chase. The police could not chase it because there was no, it wasn't that serious. It's a stolen car. And then via, I don't know if where you guys are from you have this, but we have in Florida something called a Sun Pass, which is basically on toll roads, it will scan your car or your sticker. And so it knows when to charge you, right? And we saw via our Sun Pass, it kept billing me. They didn't take the Sun Pass off of it. So I was watching them because it would take a snapshot of when they went through a toll. And I was watching them snapshot by snapshot going down to Miami. And I was like, the car's going to be gone. It's going to end up on a boat somewhere. It's going to end up in a chop shop. It's a Corvette, like that's what's going to happen. And I started sort of like detaching from the car at that point. And then, because it's gone, right? It was gone. And the crazy thing is 4 weeks later, and I swear I'm going to get to what I did yesterday, but 4 weeks later, we get a call from the Orange County Sheriff's Office, which is here in our county. And I'm like, what? It was a Wednesday night. It was like 8 p.m. This person kept trying to call me and I kept like, getting rid of it because I was hanging out with Nora and they just kept trying to call. And I'm like, this is probably somebody that just wants to sell me some sort of, warranty for a car or something. Anyway, they left a voicemail finally and it was the Orange County Sheriff and he said they found the car. They found it in an apartment complex. It was in the parking lot. It had a tarp over it. They had taken the license plates off and because it did not have a sticker to be in that parking lot, the apartment complex towed it. And so whenever it was towed, the tow people they checked the VIN number and saw that it was stolen. And then that's how we got the car back, which is just totally crazy. But whenever the car was stolen, I began to, and this is incredibly, this is humbling to even say publicly, but I began to realize how much identity of mine was wrapped up in that car, had become wrapped up in that car. Not that I was a jerk about it or anything, but I knew that I had a certain feeling when I was driving the car. And the certain feeling was like, I feel really good. Like, I feel like this is me. And like, it became a part of my identity. And for something worldly like that to become part of your identity is exactly what we need to safeguard against. So when people say the love of money is the root of all evil, that is the thing. It's not money is the root of all evil. It's when you make it a part of you. Right? And it wasn't until it was stolen that I realized it had started to become an identifier, an identity piece for me. And when I realized that, first of all, it brought me to my knees. Because you don't, and this is what I want everybody to hear right now, you don't realize it when it happens so slowly. You don't realize that something has really taken over a piece of your life or become a part of your identity. You don't realize that that is a thing really probably until it gets taken away. And when it was gone, I started going through the mourning period of not having that car, which sounds just, for me to say it right now, it totally sounds like very teenager of me, and I understand that. Like, don't be upset because Martha, like, it is what it is. I'm just being completely honest. If nothing, you guys, I'm absolutely transparent and honest with you guys. And so as I was mourning the car being gone, I realized I needed to let it go. And I thought that that was God getting it away from me and letting it go. Here's what happened. So whenever it came back, now I had a choice. God gave me the choice. Okay, Martha, you know that this was a problem. You know it had become an idol. You know it had taken a place in your life that it should not belong. What are you going to do now that it's back? So it's been at the dealership until yesterday. It had to get like rekeyed and they had to fix the glove box and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I picked it up yesterday, went to the DMV, got new tags for it, new license plate and stuff, and reprinted the title because I had to do that. And I decided, I mean, this was whenever we knew it was coming back, we made this decision, but yesterday I actually did it. I went and sold it. I took it to a dealership and I sold it. And that money's just going to go toward our ministry, the ranch or the farm that we're making, that's going to be built around restoration of pastors and creating ministries for families and things like that. That's what this farm and ranch is going to be used for, and that money's just going to go toward that. So 2 years ago, I bought what then became an idol for me, and I was just so proud of it, and I was like, I can buy this thing cash, and I was caught up in the wrong stuff. There were many parts of me that was doing everything right, and then there were little sections that were allowing that. Does that make sense? That's us as humans. It's like, we'll give God this, but I want this part. Let me have this part. And so where we're at this point, or where I'm at, is I'm just giving God everything. And this is how we can have full restoration in ourselves, full restoration in our families. It's real and true surrender. And here's what God did for me yesterday, which is unheard of. I went to CarMax and what's the other one? Carvana, and got the what would they offer for the car, and it was real lowball. I'm not going to mention numbers on here, but it was 50% of what it should have been. Okay, 50 to 60% of what it should have been. And I was like, I don't want to have to take that, right? And then, but I was okay with it. I talked with Mike and I was like, listen, worst case scenario, we'll go ahead and just take this lowball offer on Saturday. We decide on Saturday what we're going to take. And I was like, I will take it to many places and we'll see what kind of different offers we can get. So yesterday, my entire day was spent at the DMV and then taking the car to different dealerships. Let me tell you, I showed up at a dealership in the middle of the afternoon. The guy that worked there, very, very cool guy, really nice guy. We even actually got into a conversation of how God works through our lives. Very, very cool conversation. Can I tell you, they almost paid me full retail. You know, when we surrender and we give what we have, we know that God takes care of us sevenfold, right? I am okay completely with giving the car back and not having that idol in my life anymore. And God fully restored as though it was never bought in the first place. Fully restored it. What I want us to take away today, take away what you want, because God's got something different for everybody. It's like the Bible is very dynamic. You know, he's got you hearing something maybe different than what somebody else hears. But what I'm thinking anyway is, let's just have this be a takeaway. Let's have it be a day where we just sit in prayer and we sit in reverence, and where we just sit and we think, God, what do you need me to give up? Is there something I need to give up? Is there something I'm leaning too heavily on? Is there something in my life that is, without me realizing, actually coming before my love and my loyalty to you? Is there something in between that? And if there's something in between that, Lord, illuminate it so I can make the decision. That's what I would love for us. Because when we sit in surrender to the Lord, He's able to restore us. But if we can't sit in surrender, I think it's very difficult for us to accept restoration. I think restoration is always available to us, but I feel like it's hard for us to accept restoration when we've got things in the way. And that's really all that I wanted to say. So International Women's Day from 2 years ago, I got what ended up being an idol for me. International Women's Day today, I sold it yesterday, fully restored. Money's going toward ministry, and I live in a different place now. And I'm happier without it than how I was with it. It's just true stories of restoration. It looks different than you might think. So I love you guys. I'm going to get out of here. Bye-bye.